Here we go. And looks like we are live. Yep, it just reset. Perfect. We've got our concurrent viewers on. Stream health green. And what is up, Spears and Sharks? Ace of Vegas here, and I hope you're doing well. And this is, once again, yet another Governor Steve Sisolak, Las Vegas, you know what, live stream. Oh, gosh. Hang on just a tick, guys. Oh man, he gets spicy every time you do, and every time he gets spicy. Oh man, Gord's challenging me to one hell of a drinking game over here. I'm not sure if I'd be able to keep up with that, but yeah, we can give it a try here. But let's go. Let's see what we got going on here. So, just to recap for everyone, what happened last time? Governor Sisolak had a stream. Also want to say hi to everybody in the live chat over here. We got Gibbsy, we got Orlando Potts, we got my boy Muffy up in Canada too, we got Intel, we got Angie, we got Kino Kid, obviously, Good Times Productions. Him and Pickles actually just got their 500th subscriber, well, like 540th at this point, I'm sure, with the live stream we did, but you know, 100% there. My boy Gord, aka Triple Ripple, up in the house too. Good to see everybody. Cinnamon just got back from her live stream. Obviously, we got Granny, we got Pickles in here too. We got Lisa. Man, it's gonna be a big show here. Steph in the house. So is Miss Jen. Let's have some fun. We need a Bud Light toast. Absolutely not, Melba. No. But the homie Drew is in here. So is Finesse Kid. Let's go. Let's go. Now, prediction on the announcement over here. I guess the big question that's on everybody's mind is, are we looking at another shutdown? And I'd say that Steve Sisolak would be a circus clown if he decided to try for another shutdown. It's not happening. He can't do it. Vegas quite literally cannot afford to do it. That's why he didn't say a word about tourists last time that he did a speech. Honestly, let's call it what it is. Steve Sisolak is a politician, and therefore he's a dimwit. But no politician is that stupid. He's not gonna, take his bread and butter and then toss it on the floor and then trying to eat it afterwards, too. He's not that dim. So, my prediction here is he's mainly gonna be... Actually, you know what? I'm gonna show you guys what I'm seeing over here. So I think his biggest concern is going to be in this post that he posted around, it was around noon Vegas time. Basically, what he's going to talk about is he's going to discuss that the vaccine is coming in, he's going to work on his distribution plan. He's trying to figure out who he can get it to, who he can't, and then based on that, probably work on that. Oh, Gibbs is going to start this off a little interesting. Okay, I'll tell you what. I will go get my Jameson, and we'll start... Actually, you know what? Let's start with the Earth Kingdom this time over here. Earth Kingdom, and we got some handmade Tito's over here. Shot for Gibbsy, and Gibbsy is going to make this fun. We might end up ordering pizza tonight. Not sure if I'm going to be up for cooking after this. We'll see what happens. Here we go, guys. Cheers. Not bad. Tito's is pretty smooth. That's not too bad. I don't generally like vodka as a whole, but it's all good. Martin's in the house. Martin, I caught you at a time where you weren't feeding the cats there, man. So, all good stuff. Queen R is saying that we're going to look at a partial shutdown here. Close from, say, midnight. Chris, I have not been back to the LQ yet. I haven't had a reason to. There is one down the street, but I just don't drink that much, and I haven't finished the Tito's. So next time it will be Grey Goose. I didn't forget my promise. It will be Grey Goose next time. I am planning on a trip before the live stream next Sunday because that's going to be a regular live stream. This is kind of a special one because I normally don't stream every Sunday, so Valerie, I have no idea. Honestly, it's something that Pennies for Vegas kind of started. Because he'd get on streams and we do drunk talks, and every time that we super chatted, he'd drink. So I guess I'm kind of ripping that off of him. It's just kind of a fun little tradition that we started around here. So, whatever. All good stuff. It's a fun time. Also, I'm not driving, so who cares? Planning on being home all night. But yeah, at this point here, it becomes better looking when you drink. So wait a second, that's if we drink. Well, you never know. You never know, Gord. Okay, guys, but basically what I'm expecting is I'm expecting him to discuss the vaccine and possibly maybe loosen a restriction. Now, I don't see that coming up anytime soon, primarily because I was looking at some of these numbers. Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you the COVID numbers. COVID Vegas numbers. Oh, Intel, thank you very much for the super chat, man. I'll go ahead and go, you know what? Let's go Air Nomads over here. We'll go Air Nomads this time. And there's one from Martin too. Okay, guys, we're doing the shooter. Air Nomads. Let's go. Let's go. But let me show you these numbers over here. So in Clark County, looks like we're averaging some 2,000 cases. So mid 2,000s cases. So, all right, cheers, guys. That is good. Not quite as spicy. Yes, JR, you can get paid to do shots of vodka. Would I recommend it? Probably not. Especially since I've already taken 2 shots and we're only like 8 minutes into the video. Because y'all are dangerous. Alright, but the rest of this probably isn't going to be much of a laughing matter. Unfortunately, looks like they are up about 32 deaths here in Clark County, up to almost 2,000 deaths. That is unfortunate. That is very sad. No amount of deaths is okay as far as I'm concerned from something that's preventable, or at least preventable as best you can, like a virus. So, you know. Damn it, Val. Okay. I guess we're going into the Avatar state tonight. If I get a whiskey, then I guess I'm going to be Avatar Ace going forward. I get some Mally over here, too. Cheers to Vegas Best Ideas for hosting the Pineapple Party on Andy and Simone's stream. But we are getting really close to seeing what the man himself, Spicy Sisolak, has to say. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead and reload the video over here. And yeah, let's see what we can do here. So shout out to everyone who's offered a super chat so far. We appreciate that. Let me see. Nope. Okay, that is not what I wanted. I don't think. Is this right? Hang on. Let me refresh this. Let me try this. It's still not popping in over here. We just want to make sure that we are on the stream here. Here we go. So FDA approving. Congress buys more shutdown time. All right, let me see. Is it loading? Here it is. Broadcast virtually here. Yep. Here he is. Here's old man Sisolak, guys. Alright, guys, we're back up. Oh my god, he's screen sharing from his own spot here. Okay. Let me go ahead and move over here a little bit so you guys can see old Spicy himself. So, here he is in the corner over here. Not sure if you guys can see. Here he is in the corner. I don't hear him saying anything, though. Can you guys hear him? Oh, come on, Stevie. Alright, so we got a sign language interpreter up here. Everyone always asks why she doesn't have a mask and why she's just kind of hanging out up there. She's a sign language interpreter, so she needs to be available, you know, to allow people to read lips and do the signs at the same time. It's an imperative part of American Sign Language. So that is the reason that she is maskless in every single video that we do over here. So, all right. But looks like old man Sisolak is getting ready to start here. So let's see what he has to say. I know, isn't this music great? Great, Drew. Hand-to-hand combat. Yeah, you're probably right. It is going to be more wear a mask, wear a mask. We got a vaccine, wear a mask. But, you know, there's probably going to be some more interesting things here. I'm hoping so. Ooh, that hurt. Who was that? Brass Monkey? You know, I don't have any orange juice, but man. Hey, baby.
What?
Can you bring down that bottle of Jameson?
What bottle?
I got a bottle of Jameson in the kitchen over there.
Where's that?
It's on the spice rack. Because Jameson is a spice, guys, in case you guys didn't know. All right, we're going into the Avatar state, guys, thanks to Lee. Oh, good old Lee. All right, coming through. I appreciate you, brother. No, 702 beats. I don't think it's going to be a 30-day shutdown, brother. I doubt it. I don't think he can afford that. He'd get recalled for sure. He can't afford to do a 30-day shutdown.
I don't see no bottle.
It's a small bottle. It says Jameson Irish whiskey up front. It's a green bottle. Very small.
Oh.
Yeah, that one. Also, Andy says hi again. We are on stream. All right, shout outs to Wonder Woman, the provider of Jameson over here, because we love her. Mustache Dave, good to see you, brother. Okay, old man Spicy, get on your stream, man. You are less professional than I am, and I'm drinking whiskey on camera. Oh, man, I love you some Jameson. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, sworn in 1992. Oh, here we go, guys. It just changed colors. I think Spicy is ready. Here he is. Can you guys hear him? Unfortunately, there he is.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here with me this afternoon for this important update. I want to note up front that my remarks today may be a little bit longer than normal. I want to be clear and fully lay out for you the situation our state is now facing. We are at a critical point, and I want all Nevadans to understand why. I wanted to start by highlighting some encouraging news on the vaccine front.
That's good news.
On Friday night, the FDA granted emergency use authorization of the Pfizer vaccine. And this morning, the Western States panel tasked with reviewing the vaccine signed off as well. We anticipate receiving the first shipment in the state on Monday. And the state team has worked closely with our partners, and plans are in place to distribute the first allocation of the Pfizer vaccine to our frontline healthcare workers for immediate vaccination, and staff and residents in our nursing skilled facilities as soon as possible. I know last week our state team did a test run of the distribution process with the people who will be responsible for transporting the actual vaccines across the state, did a practice run to make sure everything goes smoothly. As new developments on the vaccine and the vaccination process unfold, we will work to keep Nevadans posted on any updates and news as they become available.
Theoretically.
As you all know, Dr. Fauci predicted that Thanksgiving would cause a surge on top of a surge. We have every indication that's where the nation and where Nevada is headed at this time. According to state health officials, we are just now beginning to see the effects of the holiday in our current data.
Checking the numbers.
As we expected, what appeared to be a brief decline in new cases over the holiday was related to decreased testing over the holiday. It certainly was not because COVID was magically gone.
Well, duh.
We continue to see an increase in hospitalizations statewide, with almost 1,700 Nevadans in the hospital battling COVID as of Friday.
That is sad.
While rural and northern Nevada are still experiencing very high levels of COVID hospitalization, declines are beginning to be noticeable. In Southern Nevada, hospitalizations have yet to peak as the area remains in the midst of their third hospitalization wave. As you well know, helping to protect our healthcare infrastructure has been one of our main goals in our response efforts. I want every Nevadan to have access to care, and our healthcare workers have done everything in their power, including setting up hospitals and parking garages, to make sure that they are there for you when you need it, whether you have a heart attack, your breaking arm, or you catch the flu. There is no doubt our hospitals are feeling an increased strain due to an increase in COVID patients, and our healthcare workers are too. They need your help. They deserve your thanks. Most concerningly, COVID deaths are on the rise. We have now lost 2,539 Nevadans to this virus. 2,539 Nevadans. As you know, almost 3 weeks ago, Nevada entered a statewide pause in the face of increasing COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths.
We were there.
This statewide pause implemented incredibly strict mitigation measures in an effort to protect both lives and protect our fragile economy. Under this pause, capacity is limited to 25% at many businesses, including our restaurants, bars, casino floors, and gyms. Additionally, public gatherings are capped at 50 individuals or 25% capacity, whichever is less. And private residential gatherings are limited to 10 people maximum,
See, last time he
no
said
more
8.
than 2 households.
He said 8 before.
I spoke recently about how we must create a bridge between our current situation and when the COVID-19 vaccines become widely available. You all know the tools to get us across the bridge. Avoid gatherings, limit exposure by staying home as much as you can, wash your hands, wear your mask. In fact, in a report from IHME at the University of Washington, they estimated that as of November 30th, 74% of Nevadans always wore a mask when leaving their home. More importantly, the report noted that if we got that number to 95% compliance, we could potentially save 1,000 lives by April 1st. I know the mitigation restrictions in place under the current pause are devastating to many Nevadans who just want to go back to normal, who are worried about their jobs, their businesses, keeping their homes, and getting the kids back in school. But as I've said for 9 months now, we must do what we can to protect the health and safety of the public. That remains more important than ever as we experience these record numbers. That's why today, I am announcing that we will be extending the restrictions in the pause under the current in place under the current pause in Nevada for the next month through January 15th.
Sorry,
We will be
TVP, no
extending
clubs.
restrictions in the current pause through January 15th. As always, we will be monitoring and evaluating our current situation day to day and week by week. We'll remain under the current restrictions for now, with the goal of getting through the next month, due to the reasons I'll outline in a moment. But I need to be clear. If officials and experts agree that our trends are going beyond our ability to respond, I will be forced to come in front of you all again with tougher actions. I believe we can avoid those actions if we all commit to it. And before I outline the reasons behind this choice, I'd like to announce one more public health mitigation measure, something that will greatly assist in keeping Nevadans in the safest place they can be, in their homes. Tomorrow, I will sign a directive that will place a moratorium on most residential evictions in Nevada with an effective date and time of 12:01 a.m. on December 15th. I originally put a residential eviction moratorium in place early stages of the pandemic in conjunction with the stay-at-home order. Keeping Nevadans in their homes to slow COVID-19 was safer then than making emergency shelter housing or shelter arrangements.
Right.
Which increases the risk of spreading COVID-19 for them. That still remains true today. We transitioned out of the moratorium as numbers improved and as tenant assistance programs came online. However, as we are now in the depths of our most significant and dangerous surge, of this crisis and with an impending deadline to be able to use federal assistance for tenants, I must reinstate a moratorium to ensure Nevadans can stay in their homes during this critical phase of the pandemic. When people are evicted, it is impossible to stay home. They're out looking for jobs and housing to desperately save their families. They will spread COVID-19 unintentionally because they have no options.
Right.
The CDC and state public health officials have expressed concern over families and individuals that are being evicted. In fact, my COVID-19 medical advisory team has formally recommended reinstatement of an eviction moratorium to reduce increased community transmission that is caused by displacement and homelessness in Nevada.
I wonder what they're doing about.
According to our state health officials, when people are evicted, they're at a higher risk of getting COVID-19, as families may be forced to share a smaller space or live in crowded shelters. Local officials are also concerned with the possibility of our shelters and other congregate housing options being overrun with homeless families. This is a reality we cannot afford to risk at this time. During this current surge we are experiencing, it is critical that we do all we can to keep Nevadans in their homes and mitigate the risk of spread and infection. As I've been clear from the start, this moratorium does not, repeat, it does not relieve renters from their obligation to pay rent to their landlords.
Basically pay
the
your
state
rent.
has already created and provided lease addendums where landlords and tenants can work on repayment solutions together. The moratorium will apply to all tenants unable to pay rent and will extend through March 31st. It will not prohibit certain evictions, including, for example, lease breaches for things like unlawful activity or nuisance. We also have rental assistance programs up and running throughout the state, so renters can have some of their outstanding rent for 2020 paid. However, these programs are supported with federal assistance dollars that currently expire at the end of December. That's this month. And we need to ensure that there are protections for tenants going forward. I recognize that this extension will be economically hard on some of our landlords. I know I've asked landlords to sacrifice during this pandemic, and I'm asking you to again do more for a few months so that we can push through what I hope is the last surge of this virus. I will do everything I can do to continue to push for economic assistance for our impacted landlords. This is one of dozens of areas of economic assistance that we are hopeful that the federal government will help provide. With the extension of this pause, the evictions moratorium, the cooperation of Nevadans, and a vaccine on the horizon, I am hopeful we can continue to stand together in this fight against the virus. We are fighting the virus. We cannot fight one another.
That's the theory.
There isn't a day that goes by when I don't think about the great balancing act that Nevada faces. And I know how the tightrope that we must walk is more pronounced here than in any other state due to our economic structure. I want you to know that I see what you see. On one hand, we have record cases and our hospitals are under increased strain due to COVID. On the other hand, our families are suffering economically with unemployment rate remaining in the top 2 highest in the country and little remaining assistance available. Some say we've gone too far. Some say we aren't doing enough. I understand both sides. The last 9 months have been full of decisions with no winning options, leaving us to determine which choice would lessen the blow the most. I know that, and you all know that. But early last week, I received a report from the White House COVID task force, which included recommendations for mitigating the spread. It became clear to me that the federal government has yet to grasp what is so evident to all of us here in Nevada about the complexities of our current situation. One of their recommendations said this: despite the severity of this surge and the threat to the hospital systems, many state and local governments are not implementing the same mitigation policies that stem the tide. That must happen now. That is a very stark departure from their message and actions over the last 9 months that contradicted and undermined recommended mitigation measures touted by respected public health officials throughout the country. But nonetheless, I agree with them. The problem we have is the mitigation policy that most successfully stemmed the tide in Nevada was our complete shutdown. For the White House and feds to send that recommendation without including a big check for Nevadans, a plan for providing our state with funding to give our families a safety net in this time of great tribulation is downright out of touch and offensive.
All right, that's reasonable.
A shutdown is unrealistic without additional support. And I realize I owe to all those Nevadans who may be monitoring our COVID trends right now and wondering why I don't move in that direction. So let me explain. I have said repeatedly that we are trying desperately to balance public health and the impacts to our economy. But I want to be clear about what I mean when I say economy. What I mean is impacts to our families, their ability to feed themselves and their kids, to keep the lights on, to keep a roof over their heads, to earn a paycheck, and to keep their benefits that allows them access to health care. And right now, our families and countless Nevadans are teetering on the brink. In our first months of the pandemic, Nevada lost 250,000 jobs, 250,000 jobs, reaching an unemployment rate of 30.1%, the highest level ever reported by any state in modern history. For reference, during the Great Recession, Nevada lost approximately 180,000 jobs over nearly 3 years. Unemployment benefits are established for a full year. And due to the pandemic, nearly 142,000 Nevadans have completely exhausted that eligibility, with the vast majority unable to file again until mid-March 2021 or later. Let me repeat that. Without additional federal assistance, the majority of these 142,000 Nevadans will have no further unemployment benefits available to them from the state or federal government to support their lost income.
I am worried about people that live there.
This is a stark difference from the spring when the additional assistance of the federal government helped many of Nevada's most vulnerable workers displaced by COVID receive unemployment benefits that replaced roughly 100% of their lost income. That reality no longer exists. In the spring, at the time Nevada and states across the country were under stay-at-home orders, many individuals, families, and businesses had savings accounts that helped them hold on and helped them hold over. The state of Nevada had a savings account too, our rainy day fund. We had just received robust federal support that provided income replacement to individuals and gave state and local governments funding to provide a safety net. As of today, none of those things exist. Personal savings accounts have been depleted. The state emptied its rainy day fund in the spring to address our massive budget deficit. The funding we received through the Federal CARES Act is set to expire at the end of this year, meaning the programs created by state and local governments to assist Nevadans directly will have to stop in a couple of weeks. According to one of our state economists, to return to full stay-at-home restrictions without the savings and assistance we had in the spring would put us in a position that would be as bad or worse than the Great Depression. That means a return to historic unemployment numbers and a significant demand for public assistance with no funds to pay for it. If we could write a check to every Nevadan right now to provide them the ability to stay home and stop the spread, I'd do it. But we can't. Now I want to talk bluntly about gaming and hospitality for a minute.
Thank you, Gwen.
I know it's hard for Nevadans to reconcile while some areas of our economy and public life are restricted, while the state's casinos are open. I get why it's hard to reconcile that fact, and I want to talk honestly with you. The gaming industry is under the same restrictions as many of our small businesses, and in some cases, even tougher restrictions.
No,
Restaurants and bars and casinos face the same capacity limits as those in our neighborhoods.
There's some
Gaming floors have been reduced to 25% capacity as well. In fact, under the authority of the Gaming Control Board, the gaming industry is arguably the most regulated industry in the state. They hold privileged licenses. They must follow strict mitigation directives and face tough consequences if they don't. And I think it's important to make this 100% clear. When I think of the gaming industry, I'm not losing sleep at night because I'm worried about their stock prices or whether gaming executives are going to make it through the pandemic and be able to keep a roof over their heads. I lose sleep at night because when we were under a stay-at-home order in the spring, we lost 250,000 jobs in 3 months in this state. And that's largely due to casinos being closed for 78 days straight.
That was rough.
I'm thinking of our blackjack dealers, our cooks, our valet drivers, our housekeepers, and our performers. They're what makes our amazing hospitality industry, which makes up one of the largest shares of workers in our state. That's why I worked with our legislature, our employers, our labor unions, and workers to pass the strongest hospitality COVID protection in the nation. These are the folks we're fighting to protect. It's the hundreds of thousands of Nevadans who take pride. They take pride in showing up every day for work and their ability that gives them to provide for their families. If we take that away, the bottom falls out for our entire state. The numbers I walked through a moment ago prove that. And here's why else gaming matters in this state and what the White House doesn't seem to understand. If this has to shut down again, the state loses an estimated $52 million in gaming tax revenue a month. $52 million a month in tax revenue. That doesn't include room taxes, live entertainment taxes, and more. And when I say revenue, I mean the money that the state has to give to use for direct assistance to Nevadans in the form of schools, public and mental health, food banks, and more. It helps fund the critical services we rely on, the safety net Nevadans need. That's why it is devastated through this pandemic. I want to remind you all, when I first entered office and put together a budget for 2019 legislative session, that was our first time in 10 years that our state budget reflected recovery from the Great Recession. It took 10 years for the state and Nevadans to claw back from that. I am so grateful to our former governor, Brian Sandoval, and all the Nevada residents who worked so hard during this time to get us there. Because of that 10-year recovery, I was able to include the largest amount of funding for mental health services in the state's history, among other achievements. But it took 10 years. And here we are now at another inflection point. I certainly don't want to lose another 10 years or more trying to claw back where we were prior to the pandemic. So when I talk to you about what the state is going to do and about revenue and about unemployment or safety, it is not lost on me that the decisions we make today and how we handle this balancing act right now will have generational impacts. The decisions I make and all of you make in the coming months will determine how we're going to recover over the next decade or more. And this balancing act includes factors that too often get lost in the larger debate, but are just as important to consider. It's always things that we don't always hear about. This week, it was reported that Nevada has seen a 50% increase in opioid and fentanyl-involved drug overdose deaths from the first quarter to the second quarter of 2020. That's startling. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's happening in the middle of this pandemic. I could go on, and I know you could too. Prioritizing our economy or our health is a false choice for our state. If you don't have a job, if you can't provide for your family, if you lose your home, if the state has no safety net to help, people will not be healthy. These aren't binary choices. This is incredibly complex, and I think about it every day. I have never and never will deny the severity of this virus. This virus posed a threat unlike anything we have seen before. And for the last 9 months, I've consistently explained the risk we are under. I've relied on the science. I've listened to public health officials.
He does all right.
Like many other Nevadans, I wake up in the morning thinking about COVID-19. It's the last thing I think about at night. It is constantly on my mind. The loss of life is devastating. So many families have been forever changed because of the terrible impacts of this virus. The stress on our healthcare workers is unbearable. They've continued to show up every day in these trying situations to help their fellow Nevadans. So when I read the White House reports that say states and local governments aren't doing enough, you can imagine how my blood boils. More than 9 months ago, the federal government handed the states the responsibility of dealing with this global pandemic. They told the states to deal with it. So we did. We have navigated this pandemic through strong state-to-state partnerships.
Well, you didn't have a
Through
choice.
shared sacrifice.
10th
and
Amendment,
through the
mate.
grit and perseverance of our communities. You all stepped up, including the private sector task force, who secured millions of masks, gloves, gowns, and tests using their international relationships and supply chain, because we weren't getting enough from the life-saving resources from Washington, D.C. For 9 months, the state has been on the front line of this war against COVID. And for 9 months, we've heard that reinforcements and air cover are on the way. Just hang in there. We don't see any planes flying overhead. Instead, every day, I wake up to a new headline about those in charge in Washington, D.C. aren't able to compromise on getting desperately needed funds to states because Republicans want business liability and Democrats want direct and flexible funding to state and local governments. I don't understand why there's a general philosophical objection to funding state and local governments. Because again, this money goes out directly to those who are suffering. And if Senator McConnell doesn't think people need assistance, he has an open invitation for me to come to Nevada anytime, to walk through the halls of our hospital COVID units, visit a homeless shelter that's full of families that had a home just a month ago. When he opposes money for state and local governments, he opposes money for food, for unemployment, for health care. If Washington, D.C. needs some guidance on how to reach a compromise, look no further than Nevada. Nevada managed to pass a business liability and worker safety protection program this summer with support of both parties. We did it with workers, labor unions, major employers, and government officials, all coming to the virtual table. Both sides knew we might not love everything in here, but we all said, we're gonna do this because we're gonna protect Nevada in this moment. It's not easy. Compromise often seems to be the hardest path, but we prove it's possible if you throw the politics to the side and prioritize people. I hope and pray that Congress listens to us and our federal delegation who are fighting for more funding for our state. But if we've learned anything over the last 9 months, it's that we have to figure out how to get through this on our own. If we don't, then we lead to further restrictions that decimate our economy for generations.
But that's part of figuring it out.
Or we continue down this path of massive loss of public health.
I wish I was on this Zoom call.
There's some hope on the horizon. As I mentioned earlier, we know the vaccine is on the way. And there's always some hope that we could get additional funding from the federal government. But as of right now, neither of those things exist. So in the absence of this leadership and support, I have made the best decision for our state and the continuation of the current restrictions implemented during this pause. I believe that we can all work together to make sure we maximize the benefits of these mitigation measures. And I call upon all of you to join in helping our state make it through this. And I don't say this is a threat, but it's a reflection of the precarious position we're in at this time. If we cannot work together to bring these numbers under control over the next month, I will be forced to come before you again with tougher actions.
Oh, no, you won't.
So in this moment, amidst a dire economic situation, the surge of the virus, we all remain on the front lines of this battle, tired, worn out, and wanting to throw in the towel. We have a choice. We can look to our neighbors, to the left and to the right, and say every man and woman for themselves. Or we can look at our fellow Nevadans and say, I'm gonna have your back and know that you'll have mine.
Oops.
We are all we have at this moment. If we
His
want to
live chat
avoid
looks
another
bad.
Great Depression, avoid preventable deaths, and stop the overwhelming of our hospitals while our healthcare workers are literally crying for help, then we will rise to this occasion and fight. A lot of folks have been talking about the American people, that we don't look out for one another. That's like some other countries do. I'm going to wholeheartedly reject that today for the state of Nevada. I refuse to believe what they're saying about Americans and about Nevadans. I refuse to believe that we do not love our neighbors as we love ourselves. I refuse to believe that we do not care about the poor among us. I refuse to believe that we cannot live in harmony with one another. Some Nevadans have been affected by the virus more than others, and others have faced economic challenges brought on by this pandemic. No matter challenges we're facing individually, we face them all together and collectively as Nevadans. Nevada will make it through this, and how well we do will be determined by how much we care for one another, especially those who are the hardest hit. We have to keep fighting to get this under control. Before we get to the media question and answer session, I just wanted to note, according to our latest statistics, a Nevadan is testing positive for COVID every 40 seconds. That's 45 cases in 30 minutes. Approximately the time frame I've been speaking to you, and every hour and 15 minutes, a Nevadan dies from COVID. The virus is still prevalent in our communities. Please protect yourselves and one another by continuing to wear your mask, wash your hands frequently, and practice social distancing. Together, we can help stem the tide. God bless you all. I think my staff will now help facilitate some questions and answers with members of the media.
Oh, Lord.
On the call. Megan, are you there?
Yes, Governor, thank you. Again, if we could utilize the raise hand function on Zoom, and if we could keep our cameras off for the whole time, I'll call on you and you should be able to unmute yourself. We'll go to Megan Messerly of the Nevada Independent for the first question. Megan?
Hi, Governor. Thanks for doing this. I just wanted to ask, with the holidays coming up, is it safe for people to travel to Nevada over the holidays, including to Las Vegas for New Year's Eve? Why or why not?
Well, we have the same restrictions in place for people that are traveling to Nevada over the holiday period, that they practice our protocols, that they respect our protocols, that they wear a mask, that they practice social distancing, that they avoid large gatherings. If they do so, we feel that everybody can be safe. If they don't want to follow those protocols and they refuse to be part of the solution, then they should probably stay home. Safety is a partnership with us, with our resort community, and with our visitors. We need everybody to do their part.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Governor. We'll go to Colton Lockhead of the Las Vegas Review-Journal for the next question. Colton?
Oh, my favorite periodical.
Hey, Governor, can you hear me?
Here we go.
Oh, Governor, hello?
We can hear you, Colton. Go ahead.
All right. So we've been under the pause for about 3 weeks now. Do you and your team believe that the current mitigation measures are working to slow the spread, given the continued spread of the virus, increase in deaths, hospitalizations, and other metrics?
He just said it's not working.
I apologize, Colin. I didn't hear the first part of your question. Could you ask me one more time?
Yeah, so we've been under the pause for about 3 weeks now with these current stricter measures. Do you and your team believe that these current mitigation measures are working to slow the spread, given the metrics that we're seeing in that time?
Obviously, we've seen numbers increase over this time, but I do feel that the mitigation measures are working. I mean, but for these measures that we've got, I think our numbers would be a lot higher than they currently are. The majority of Nevadans are practicing the protocols. They're wearing a mask. They are practicing social distancing. But as the study at the University of Washington showed, if we could go from 74% compliance to 95% compliance, we'd save 1,000 lives between now and April. That would affect a lot of families. So they're working, but we need more of it.
Thank you, Colton. Thank you, Governor. We'll go to the next question. Madison, I believe the last name is McKay. Madison?
Hi, Governor. Thank you so much for your time. Now that the pause is being extended until January, is there anything you have to say to businesses that are struggling right now? Any support from your end, despite the lack of federal assistance right now?
Well, I understand how businesses feel. We're doing everything we can to protect the businesses and to protect the customers of those businesses. And I encourage them to contact. Our delegation is working to help us with the federal assistance. But we have to do what we can. Safety is a priority for all of us. That's what we are focusing on. We're hopeful that, this extension will get us where we need to go with the combination of the extension, the protocols that are still in place, and the vaccines that are coming. We're hopeful we'll be in a better place by the time this would expire.
Thank you, Madison, and thank you, Governor. We'll go to Brian Hoffman from KTVN for the next question. Brian?
Hey, thank you so much. So I got a two-part question for you. One, when that pause does expire, what type of regulations could we possibly be looking at? And have you reached out or spoken with the incoming President, Joe Biden, about receiving possible extended federal assistance?
We'll see about that.
To get into the hypotheticals about, what we could put into place. after the end of the the 1 month extension of the pause. That'll depend on our numbers at the time and what the situation is. As it relates to the Vice President and our Vice President-elect Biden and
the President-elect
Kamala Harris, we have been in discussion with their teams. They understand the difficulty that we're facing, but you've got to understand they're going to be in office for 5 weeks. That's a long time from now that we have to hang on for, and we need something done, and we need something done now. It's an open invitation to anybody that doesn't think there's a need to come on out here, and I'll take you through our hospitals and our businesses that are suffering and our schools where we still don't have kids in the classrooms to show that the need is real.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you for the question. We'll go, I believe it's Jay Jones. It says Jay's Galaxy S10, but I believe it's Jay Jones from the Los Angeles Times.
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me, Governor?
Yeah, I'm trying. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. First of all, happy holidays to you and yours. With Christmas less than 2 weeks away, no public official wants to be a Scrooge, throwing more people out of work and increasing the financial pain here in our state. But that said, last week, the daily number of new COVID cases in Clark County, Nevada, per capita was higher than the number in Los Angeles County, California, which is in a much stricter lockdown situation ordered by Governor Newsom. I understand you're on a tightrope, as you described earlier this afternoon, but given Nevada's COVID numbers and the soaring volume, doesn't public health outweigh the certainly understandable economic impact?
Well, public health includes a lot of things. It certainly includes the COVID diagnosis, but includes the mental health that people are facing, the homelessness that they're facing, the food shortages that they're facing. We are in a unique position in Nevada. We are reliant on one industry, our hospitality and tourism industry. We don't have the IT industry. We don't have manufacturing in Southern Nevada. You know, we don't have a diversified economy like other states do. Our economy is basically reliant on hospitality.
Essential.
People coming here to have a good time and enjoy themselves. And when you talk about the health crisis that it could provide, you've got to balance the health crisis as it relates to COVID diagnosis with, as I said, the use of opioids and fentanyl deaths have increased 50% quarter over quarter. And some of that has to be attributed to the lockdown situation and the restrictions that are in place. So we're trying to take all of those criteria and statistics into account when we come up with the plan.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Jay, for the question. We have time for a few more. I am monitoring both the chat and the raised hand function. So we'll go to Astrid Mendez with channel 13 next. Astrid?
Oh, 13. Game on.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. As it was mentioned, Christmas is about to be happening, and even though with the moratorium, we know that some families have been getting those notices that they need to bake it as soon as possible. Obviously, one thing that you just mentioned right now is that it's important for families to stay together and to stay inside to avoid more COVID cases. What should families do, or who should they talk to or contact in case that they're still faced with an eviction, even with the extension then and the reinstatement of the moratorium that you just basically announced?
Well, you're right. The eviction moratorium will be signed tomorrow. Details will be coming with the moratorium, with the directive that we signed tomorrow, and will provide instruction in terms of what they should do. But when you talk about Christmas being 2 weeks away, I want to add a little something. You're right. Christmas is less than 2 weeks away. And the best gift you can give your family is their health. And we can all give each other a gift of health by practicing these protocols, by wearing the mask, by avoiding large gatherings, by washing your hands. And to say, look, this year we're not going to be able to get together for that big Christmas dinner. And I'm giving you the gift. We're going to make it next year. We're going to all make it through this together, and next year we'll be able to get together for Christmas dinner. So that's the best gift that you can give your family and your friends.
Thank you, Governor. We'll go to Howard from CDC Gaming. Howard?
Governor, how you doing today? Thanks for the conference call. Thanks for the presser. I took what you said about the gaming industry, not closing the casinos to heart. I guess the question is, have you had discussions with the, different operators, the casino leaders, about this. And, you see what's happening, that a lot of properties are shutting down, hotels midweek or restaurants. They're rolling back on their own. They're not waiting for, like in Pennsylvania or Illinois or Ohio, other states that have closed down. So obviously you didn't want to close down. You're kind of leaving it up to the operators to make these decisions.
Usually the operators make their own decisions, and they're governed by the Gaming Control Board, who I have total confidence in terms of providing us with restrictions and criteria for them to operate under. Every state is different. Again, you have to understand that Nevada, this is our only big industry that we have in Southern Nevada. So it's incumbent upon us to do what we can to protect them. I'm thinking of the hundreds of thousands of employees that work in these properties that are affected by this. As I said, I'm not concerned about the stock price of some of these properties. I'm concerned about how the individual employees are impacted and affected by the virus and by the shutting down of the Strip.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Howard, for the question. We will go to David from 8 News Now. David?
Oh, David, game on, buddy. David apparently lost his microphone. Am I still on? Am I still streaming? Yep.
Governor, I hope you can hear me there. Thank you for taking my question. My question is about the vaccine and how we're moving forward with that. Obviously, it's long awaited. We've heard a lot from state officials about the tiers 1, 2, and 3. I'm curious, though, what you had to say for the majority of us who are in that final tier, who are going to have to hold out until we get a large amount of the vaccine to come, in the spring, and what your message is for the majority of us who won't be vaccinated right away.
Well, my message to the majority of people that won't be receiving it, and it's unfortunate we can't get more, and we're doing everything we can as a state to increase our allocation and to get our allocation up, is that continue to protect yourself by practicing the protocols. If you wear a mask, you wash your hands, you practice social distancing, you avoid large groups, you're going to be in a safer position. And as more and more people get vaccinated, there'll be less likely of exposure that you will be receiving as a result of others being vaccinated. But it's going to take some time for the state of Nevada, for the entire country, to get a vaccine. And we need to be as patient as we can along the way. There's hope that this week the FDA is looking at Moderna, which is going to be more vaccines that they're going to be providing, and we would be getting our share of those too. And we're hopeful that we'll get as many as possible in the weeks and months ahead. But for those who are later along the tiers, in terms of getting the vaccine, continue to practice the protocols that we've put in place.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, David, for the question. We have time for a couple more. We'll go to Lauren Clark from Channel 3. Lauren, you're up next.
Hi there, Governor. Thank you so much for the time. My question is also vaccine related. As you know, there's still some people who don't necessarily have full trust in this vaccine right now. Will your office be doing anything in terms of education, encouraging people to go out and get it?
He's not a scientist.
We will be doing as much as we possibly can with our medical facilities, with our doctors on the front line, in terms of describing just how safe this vaccine is. I mean, it's been thoroughly vetted. Our Western states have vetted it a second time. They've approved it. The vaccine should be here tomorrow. And I would have no problem, whether it would be my mother, my sister, my kids, my wife, anyone getting the vaccine. I'm confident in the safety and the efficacy of the vaccines and would encourage people to take part and receive the vaccine.
I hope that was from a scientist.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you. We'll do the last question from Sam Metz. If we weren't able to grab your question today, please feel free to send me an email or a text after this. So we'll do Sam Metz from the AP to go next. And Astrid Mendez, if you don't mind just keeping your camera off. Sam, go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, my goodness.
Hi, Governor. Thanks for doing this. When you talk about a bridge, how long do you anticipate the bridge being? I assume we don't know exactly, but should businesses and residents assume that the bridge, with all the restrictions it entails, lasts until midsummer when the vaccine's widely distributed?
Till midsummer, Sam, but you've got to understand, when this started back in March, and I made the decision that we had to shut down, our casinos and our businesses and our schools, I never thought that we would be here 9 months later. facing a lot of the same problems in the situation that we have. It is my hope that as people continue to follow the protocols that we put in place, that they wear a mask, that they wash their hands, that they practice social distancing, they avoid large groups, they help us protect from any surges coming from Christmas or New Year's, that we'll be able to keep our numbers low and let the healthcare system catch up. When you couple that with the fact that vaccines are here tomorrow or Tuesday, and we'll start vaccinating people, and that they will then be immune, hopefully after the second vaccine from the virus, that less people will be potential carriers, and we can get these numbers down. But as I said last time I had you all together, we're much closer to the end of this pandemic than we are to the beginning. And I still feel that way today. We are closer to the end than we are in the beginning, and there's hope on the horizon. But if we work together, what I said I believe, I don't believe what you hear out there. I believe that Nevadans care about their neighbors like they care about themselves. I believe that Nevada cares about our homeless population. I believe Nevadans care about those that are less fortunate. We need to practice that as we move forward, and hopefully when I see you next time in the middle of January, if not before, we'll be able to have some more positive news coming your way.
Always waiting that long. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. If we weren't able to get to your question today, please feel free to shoot me an email. We thank you all for sticking around. I know this is a little bit longer than our press conferences normally go. So again, thank you for your time today. We'll have some more information out tonight and tomorrow regarding the governor's announcements. If you have any additional questions, just feel free to reach out. Thank you, Governor.
Okay, I guess that's about it there. They just cut the stream really fast there. Can I say really fucking fast? Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is what old man. Oh, hang on. This is all my personal. That's all my personal shit. I'm gonna have to cut that. Okay. So Ed is asking us if Vegas is shut down. No, Ed, Vegas is not shut down, homie. Nevadans care for sure. 100% agree with that. So before we discuss anything else here, I think we have 11 minutes left in the stream. I'm gonna say this. Sisolak is a politician. No questions asked. Personally, I don't really feel like he was super genuine. I feel like he was reading off a script over there. He's a politician, and he's just doing kind of his thing over there. I will say that. Now, I believe everyone here cares about Nevada. They care about their friends. They care about Vegas. They care about their Vegas family and all that. But politicians, y'all know me. I don't like politicians. I don't believe in politicians. I feel like a lot of change comes from the people. And it's people like us that aren't politicians that elicit the most change. That's my personal opinion on that. You can disagree with that. Absolutely. That's the First Amendment right there. Disagree with whatever you want. But, this is my channel, so that's the that's the disagreements that I'm going to have with you guys over there. And if you guys can say otherwise, 100% right behind you over there. No worries. No worries. All good stuff. So if y'all disagree with me, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and buy you a beer. Because this is America, and we're allowed to do that sort of thing. So if you did disagree with me, you got some good information, 100% got you right there. Raymond, I feel like we're already friends, buddy. But I'll just go ahead and say that, first off, I'm not a big fan of politicians. I don't like the way he presented everything. I feel like there are a lot of people that are going to get hurt by this, and it's actually really interesting here just to see things. So, good news. We're not getting shut down. Vegas is not getting shut down. Great stuff. So if you're going to Vegas anytime soon, you can keep up with it. We did a live stream, not a live stream. I think it actually might have been a live stream. I'm trying to remember. I think it was a live stream where we reacted to some of the stuff that he was doing. With the restrictions and all that stuff pretty much stays in place. That doesn't seem to have changed. More beer. We got the Blue Moon. So if you're planning to go to Vegas, everything's the same. That's pretty simple. Now, how does everybody feel about what old man Sisolak had to say today. I'm getting all these, like, I'm going to close my Facebook over here because I'm getting a lot of messages from the family there. All right, your channel don't like it. You know, hey Muffy, I'll tell you what. This is an open forum over here. As long as you're not saying anything like harmful to anybody, like as long as you're not beating up on anybody that isn't a politician. Of course, politicians, you can beat up on politicians all you want on this channel. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right now. If you want to beat up on a politician, do it. They put themselves in the public light. They've put themselves out there. They're putting themselves in the public image right there. And they're also politicians. They're kind of owned by corporations and lobbyists and all that. As far as I've been able to interpret, that's just my personal opinion, just to make that clear. You want to beat up on a politician on my platform, do it. I ask that you don't beat up on your friends here in the comment section, with your friends in the live chat over here. Respectfully disagree, but I ask that you don't beat up on other people because I think individual people have the right to an opinion. Politicians are different because they represent a large population of people, and they have to be careful because they represent so many people there. So if you want to beat up a politician, I say do it. That's part of their job there. If you want to beat up an individual, I don't feel like that's fair. That's not what my platform is here for. So just to make that clear, I think anybody that's a subscriber of mine knows that. So just so you guys know, in the live chat and in the comment section, please don't beat up each other. Everyone, as long as it's not a harmful opinion, is of course entitled to their opinion. We have First Amendment rights, especially here in the United States of America, and I think in the rest of the quote-unquote developed world, that's a thing. But yeah, if you want to beat up on old man Sisolak, punch him. Absolutely. If you want to beat up on Governor Newsom, if you want to beat up on President Trump, if you want to beat up on President-elect Joe Biden, beat up on him. Go ahead. That's on them for deciding to be politicians. So fair enough. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and see here. So let me go ahead and address the live chat over here, see what we got. I'm just trying to catch up a little bit in the live chat. I know there's a lot going on. But basically what we're looking at, no new restrictions, no new developments, no shutdown. So it's just a question of trying to get the vaccine out to people. And hopefully that hasn't changed. Let's see, Scott Miller. What about all this income from marijuana? No idea. No idea, man. I'm not a politician. I don't have that answer for you, buddy. Let's keep going on. Intel Wild says, didn't say much. Terry Myers says that Steve Sisolak is a joke. I agree. He's a politician. Haven't played Steampunk yet. Newsom is an off-brand Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Yeah, fair enough. Who else was talking over here? Let me scroll up. Lee was asking, what's my prediction for January 15th? I guess it depends on how much vaccine we have out there. I feel like the numbers are going to be roughly the same, but I don't think there's going to be too much of a change, largely because it's going to be the low season anyway. I'm not too worried about it. It's not going to get interesting till March, so if we get vaccines and lower test results by March, I think we'll be okay. We'll see what happens. I don't think Vegas is going to die off, not anytime soon. It survived so many, depressions and recessions and things like that. It is what it is. So, let's see, Vegas Best Idea is basically a mix of him shutting it down and keeping it open. Yeah, so it's a balance. He's trying to find the balance. I don't think he's going to find the balance, but Jamio, good deal. Good to see you there. Welcome aboard, buddy. Or Charmy Woo, sorry about that. I misread that. Let's see. Let's keep moving over here. Let's see. Shanta does a great job explaining whether you agree or not. Okay, so they're disagreeing about Newsom. Again, Newsom's a politician. Y'all know how I feel about politicians, just as a personal opinion there. But I don't like politicians. Denegated Survivor Slayers. Pop-Up's having a fun time with this. Okay. Napa, happy to help you out with that over there, buddy. Good deal. Our casino's not taking temperatures anymore. They're taking temperatures if you're checking in, at least the ones on the strip in my experience, Kat, if that's what you're wondering about there. So, there's that. Let's see. The ones downtown for sure, according to Vegas Best Ideas, agree with that. Ed, happy to give you that good info. Happy to be a good part of that too. But the Vegas family, like Vegas Best Ideas, for example, Vegas to Cali is another good example. I don't think Andy's been to Vegas. Actually, Andy, you have been to Vegas. You went in Rocktober and all that, so that's good too. So guys like that, guys that I collaborate with, the Vegas Paradise and City Nerds, they've been keeping up with that too, so that's been helpful. So that's been good. Politicians shot themselves in the foot with the parties they went to, correct? Let's see. Let's keep up with some more of the live chat. Ace, have you looked into what's in this vaccine from Pfizer? Andrea, I'm not going to lie to you. I do work in healthcare. My major in college was physics, but I'm not a biochemist. So I can't speak to exactly what's in there. It's not my specialty. So I don't feel like it's my place to talk about what's in this vaccine. I'd rather defer to actual doctors and actual biochemists and guys like that. But I'm not that type, I'm not that type of like infectious disease doctor or anything like that. That's not something I should speak to. And I don't feel comfortable speaking to that because I know I do have a bit of a following and I know you guys know that I'm a regular human and all that, but I don't want to open the possibility of somebody thinking that I'm like the master of this, and I don't want to stumble anybody. I don't want to ruin anybody's experience and all that. So I'm going to go ahead and keep smacking my pop filter over here and also defer to the wisdom and the knowledge of, biochemists and, other infectious disease doctors and epidemiologists and the actual masters of this field. So I'm going to defer to them. If they say a thing, I'm going to go ahead and back them up 100%. No questions asked. So that's my personal opinion on it. Obviously, just as a non-professional, because this is not a work setting. It's non-professional. This is my non-professional opinion on it. I'm going to go ahead and defer to the professionals when it comes down to what's in the vaccine and looking into the vaccine and all that good type of stuff over there. Obviously, if you disagree, hey, again, it's your personal opinion. Not going to hate on you for that, but not my place to say on a public forum and in a place where I could influence anybody. So my personal opinion is that you should consult with your doctor. So that's my idea. So that's all I can say. Let me catch up a little bit over here too. Let's see, we got Kev over here. Cheers, have a good rest of the night here. Current state of Vegas right now, according to TVP, truthfully isn't too bad compared to how it currently is this time of year. Fair enough. Intel Wild believes that politicians are liars. I 100% agree with that. Politicians tend to, they definitely tend to serve themselves here. So, all right, I got one more time. Vaccine distribution will be a cluster. Okay, so it looks like we're about ready to wrap up over here. I think everybody's, can vaccine cure poverty and homelessness? No, absolutely not. That is a completely different issue as far as I'm concerned here. I think it definitely requires a big shift to cure poverty and homelessness. So let's go ahead and see about that. But all right, guys, it's already 5 o'clock Vegas time. I think we've had a pretty good stream over here. I'd like to thank everybody for keeping it generally pretty simple in the comments and pretty civil in the comments as well, too. It's been some good stuff. Everyone's largely supported their information with evidence, or they've made it clear that it's an opinion, and they've definitely haven't been attacking fellow commenters. They've been attacking politicians, which, again, I'm fine with. Politicians generally have it coming, and it's their job. You know what I mean? If you're going to put yourself out in the public eye like that, you're open to scrutiny, and you're supposed to be representing the people, and if the people believe that you're not representing them, then there you go. That's you as a politician, so that's on you. But anyway, though, wanted to go ahead and thank you all for that, too. I appreciate everyone keeping it civil in the comments. Don't attack your friends. Don't attack our friends here in the comments and in the live chat. Thank you all for that, and I'm ready to go ahead and close it up. Yeah, shout out to Fab Dudes for the live stream for sure. That's right, Mustache Dave. Thank you so much. Don't forget to go ahead and check out 2 Fab Dudes. I think they have a stream coming up pretty soon, too. So let's go ahead and all run over there. I think there are 161 of us in the chat presently, so let's go ahead and jump on over. Mad shout outs to the Bears, Mustache Dave, always, Vegas Paradise. We got Andrea Cruz in here. We got all these great people in here. I apologize if I didn't get to see you in the live chat. I tried to get everybody, but there was just a lot going on here. But Anyway, we're already rolling into somebody else's stream here, and I'll go ahead and shut it down like a circus con, like I always do. But yeah, so serious information's over. Let's get back to fun Vegas stuff. I will see you guys Monday with a proper Vegas video. But until next time, this is Ace of Vegas, and I'm signing out, wishing all strong hands, and of course,